Coming up on this week's edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
We'll take a look back at some of the recent presidents of NCBA and see what life is like back home for these cattle industry leaders.
Now, from the Denver headquarters of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, it's NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Hello and welcome to this week's special edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. I'm Kevin Ochsner. Thanks for joining us. Over the years, the National Cattlemen's Beef Association has been blessed with many great individuals who work countless hours on behalf of the beef industry. It starts at the top with the president, the person who each year serves as the face of the organization. Today, we're going to take a look back at some of the recent NCBA presidents and see what life is like back home on their operations. We'll share the stories that were created at the time each of these leaders was about to take the reins as NCBA president. First, we turn back the clock to 2012 and head to Nebraska and the home operation for J.D. Alexander.
J.D. Alexander believes his part of eastern Nebraska is one of the best places in the world to raise cattle.
We're above the Ogallala Aquifer, which is a natural underwater lake, which allows us to have irrigation wells that are not very deep to irrigate the ground. That, of course, grows the corn to feed the cattle. Where there's corn, the ethanol industry has popped up, and we're very heavily users of the ethanol byproducts. The other thing that's very unique about us is we have access to a lot of feeder cattle. You know, we can go in a big radius, and anymore the trucking seems to be a non-issue that we'll haul cattle for 1,000 miles to come into our feedlot. And the final really good thing about our location and in our feedlot is when we go to our final product and sell to the packers, we have 5 major packers within 150 miles that we have an opportunity to sell to.
A third-generation cattle feeder, J.D. was born and raised on his family's operation and has spent most of his life here.
Today we're about a 5,000 head feedlot. We'll try and market around 12 to 13,000 or so head of cattle a year. We also have 2,000 acres of row crop, which we primarily grow as corn. We feed it all to our cattle, plus we have to buy about another fair amount to utilize all of it. So we're a very family-orientated operation.
Along with his wife Deb and their children, J.D. is working to ensure the next generation of Alexanders will be able to stay in the cattle industry. And he says that's one of the reasons he's been active for years in the National Cattlemen's Beef Association.
I guess I got started very young. I liked it. It gave me a chance to meet other people in our business, professionals and so on. Opened up a different array of things that you can do to affect your business. And I kind of just enjoyed that, liked the people, and so I've been involved in it ever since. Very much looking forward to the next year as serving as president of NCBA.
As NCBA president, J.D. will spend much of the year on the road, traveling to represent the industry's interests at home and abroad. It's something his family says he's well prepared for.
It's something that I'm really glad for him to do. Really, there's no better man for the job. He knows all facets of the beef industry inside and out. He's been kind of stepped his way up through the program, started on local levels, worked up to state, national, and now, of course, becoming president of NCBA, he's kind of done it all. And it's not very often that a son gets to say he's proud of his father. Usually it's the other way around. So it truly makes me feel good to say, my dad is doing something this great.
Whatever he wants to get done, he'll get done. I know that about him. And he's taught all of us that whatever you want in life, never be satisfied, but always be humble and just keep going. And he's gonna do it.
When I met JD 40 years ago, he was a leader, but he was a quiet leader. And in the last 40 years, probably has found his voice. I think a lot of people will agree with me on that. he'll be a great spokesperson for the producer. He's very concerned about the industry. It's his passion, it's his love. And I think it's going to be an exciting adventure for everyone.
Because of his experience within NCBA, JD is a believer in the value of cattlemen and women being unified on the critical issues that impact their operations and the cattle industry.
We're a grassroots organization, so if you have an issue that you want to bring up, you have a voice to bring that to the highlight and have the organization respond to what your needs are. So I look at it too as it's a great camaraderie. You know, I'm a believer in working with your fellow neighbors and working together and joining forces and having something very worthwhile fighting for.
There's power in numbers, and you will find your voice in the numbers. JD will be very approachable as far as leading the organization. He'll listen to you, listen to your concerns. It's hard to get things accomplished on your own, and I think NCBA has the best interest of all producers involved in the industry.
As NCBA president, JD expects to take on a wide variety of issues, including government overregulation, expanding international markets, global competition, and the shrinking cattle herd.
You know, our numbers right now are about as low as they've ever been. And you know, the concern is if you create such a demand, you just want to make sure you can be able to supply it as well.
Being NCBA president will mean a lot of time on the road for JD, but that's something he's used to, thanks to another of his passions.
So I enjoy going out and motorcycling. It's a good way to be out in the open. Can do it pretty easily from this part of the world, but I really do enjoy going on trips in particular. I've got some friends that we usually go on a trip about once a year and see some very beautiful country across the United States.
JD's passion for the industry, his depth of experience, and his ability to connect with others all have prepared him for his new role as NCBA president. And his love of family will help him stay connected to home.
It's going to be tough, but thank goodness for technology. You know, he's already gone quite a bit here even in this last year. And so with technology, there's always cell phones, email, text. They're great tools for this job. And so even when there's questions, he's only a phone call or a text away. JD's a huge family man. And that's, you know, family is what got him to where he is today. And I know he won't ever forget it, but that's one thing I always remind him is there's always people back here who love and think about him even when he's 2,000 miles away overseas.
I've always been a believer in being part of something bigger than just yourself. And I guess it kind of got instilled in me early on, actually, before I actually came back to the operation, is you have professional organizations that look out for the betterment of your industry. And I realized that you really need this. You need camaraderie. You need to have fellow cattlemen work together to work for the betterment of the industry to make it a better place to work in.
Reporting from Pilger, Nebraska, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Still to come on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we're crisscrossing the country as we look back at other past NCBA presidents with stops in Wyoming, Texas, and Kansas. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
When you're in the cattle business, no matter how much it's a business, it still starts with cattle. It's this basic notion that sits at the core of how we approach things at Beringer Ingelheim. We understand when you put the cattle first, it just naturally leads to doing the right things. If you want to do well in this business, you start by doing right. Take care of the cattle, and they'll take care of you.
All across the nation, ranchers are feeling the crippling effects of respiratory challenges in more than 1 in 5 of their weaned calves. There's no end in sight to this devastating epidemic. But help is on the way. Purina starter feeds, Now with RX3 immune support technology, it boosts calves' natural defenses, priming their immune systems from the start. Join the fight and talk to your Purina rep to learn more.
Welcome back. Oftentimes, people may forget that dairy producers are also beef producers, and dairy cattle make an important contribution to the U.S. beef supply. And so, the 2013 NCBA president was both a dairy and beef cattle producer from Wyoming. Once again, we look back to our story profiling that year's president, Scott George.
Nestled in the mountains of northwest Wyoming, you'll find George Farms, a family dairy operation that's been in business for nearly 70 years. It's the land Scott George has lived off of his whole life, and the same land his parents homesteaded back in 1947.
They started farming, and they were having trouble farming, making enough money to farm, and so the banker told them, "You've got to do something to make some more money." And so they bought some cows and started milking cows, and we've been milking cows ever since.
Today, Scott and his crew milk 550 cows twice a day, 365 days of the year. And if that isn't enough to keep them busy, George Farms also has a beef cattle operation.
Our beef herd we kind of stumbled into. One year we had some excess silage and we sold it to a man, and it turns out he didn't have money to pay for it. But he had some calves that he hadn't got sold, and we got those calves in payment. And we were kind of looking at expanding into the beef herd as well, because we really enjoy the cattle and we know how to run cattle. And so we've started building our herd since then, and we're running around 100 and some odd mother cows now, and we really enjoy them.
Every single person who works on the farm plays an integral role in the operation's success. And despite his busy schedule, Scott is committed to keeping the business family-centered.
We've been able to work with our whole family. I grew up working with my father farming and milking cows, and my mother milked cows for years. I've worked with my brothers. We've learned how to get along. Some people don't do that. I've also got to work with my children on the farm, and my brother's children, and my sister's children. I think nearly every one of my nephews and nieces have worked on the farm at one time or another in their lives.
Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day.
I'm really proud of our operation. Teamwork is absolutely the bedrock of our operation.
And that teamwork is going to be vital over the next year. As president of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, Scott will be on the road for nearly 10 months in 2013, and he'll have to rely on his family to keep the operation running smoothly while he's gone.
Spending that much time on the road is going to be a real challenge. We do have a strong team, but every team member plays a part. And when one is out of the picture, the others have to shoulder the burden. I'm going to owe a big, big debt of gratitude to my brothers and these nephews and to our employees that are working, because they're shouldering my part of this load.
Scott's path to being an NCBA president is a bit different than past presidents. In 1991, he was asked to serve as a director for the Wyoming Beef Council. Little did he know it was a decision that would spark his passion for being a leader in the beef industry.
As I got more informed of what we were doing with the checkoff on both the state level and the national level, I got more interested in working at the national level as well. And eventually I was appointed to represent the Federation. And I worked on the Federation side, and through that involvement I got more involved and got to see what NCBA's policy arm was doing.
While some people might think it's strange to have a dairyman as an NCBA president, Scott says he has a lot of knowledge about the beef industry and is ready for the responsibility of leading the association.
We've had cow-calf operators, we've had stocker operators, we've had feeder operators. Now we have dairymen that are part of this organization. Our cattle all end up in the beef supply chain somewhere along the line. And it's becoming more and more important the dairy cattle are to the whole beef sector as our nation's beef cow herd is shrinking. As a dairyman, I feel like I kind of understand the whole cattle business. I mean, we work with the breeding of our dairy cows and beef cows both. We artificially inseminate. We understand birthing the calves. We understand raising the calves. We raise all of our own replacements. We raise all of our own replacement heifers, and we're also raising some bulls and selling bulls.
The issues facing the beef industry are a top priority for Scott. During his time as NCBA president, he's committed to making sure issues like the estate tax and government overregulation are at the forefront of discussions with lawmakers in Washington.
There are a lot of issues that are of interest. Absolutely, the top one on my mind is the estate tax. We see farmers and ranchers that are asset rich and cash poor. They live poor their whole lives. They live by the skin of their teeth. I know what that's like because we're there. We're always there. And yet when it comes time that they pass away, their children would like to carry on that business, and estate tax can eat them up.
Scott knows the importance of helping the beef industry resolve these challenges, but he also knows how to keep a good sense of humor when things start to get too serious.
My favorite dairy joke, I guess, would have to be about the woman that stopped the milk delivery man, and she said, "I would like to have you leave enough milk so I can take a bath. It's supposed to be good for my skin complexion." And he said, "Do you want it pasteurized?" And she said, "No, just up to my navel."
During his term as NCBA president, Scott is dedicated to helping protect the farming and ranching way of life so future generations can have the chance to enjoy it as well.
I recognize that you're never going to appease everybody. Not everybody's going to be happy with every decision that's made in the world. And in the end, we have to look at the big picture. What's the best for the entire industry? What gives us the opportunity to stay in business, to be in business, and to prosper, to take care of our families, to take care of the lands and the cattle, and enjoy the lives that we enjoy living. I love working with the land and the cattle, and I want other people that want to have that opportunity to be able to do it.
Want to rewatch an episode of Cattlemen to Cattlemen or catch up on anything you've missed? Then visit our YouTube page. You'll find replays of all of our shows filled with educational segments and producer profiles from around the country. So check us out at youtube.com/Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Still to come on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll take a trip to South Texas and visit with 2014 President Bob McCann. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
At Case IH, we believe it's our job to provide you with solutions. That's why our Farmall and Maxim tractors, as well as our tools and attachments, are designed with you in mind. From mowing to baling to loading and more, we're here to help turn your to-dos into to-dones. At Case IH, we'll keep your days running smoothly with equipment that's durable, versatile, and highly efficient. No wonder farmers are more loyal to Case IH than any other brand. Visit your local dealer or go to caseih.com/livestock for more.
How's your production on pasture? Are profits down? Are weight gains down? What are you going to do about it? Do something cost-effective. Do something that will make a difference. To add the first and proven leader in feed-through horn fly control to your cattle rations, ask for it by name, Alticid IGR.
Welcome back. This time around, we're looking back at the presidential profiles that were created as each NCBA president prepared to start their year. The 2014 president was Bob McCann, who calls South Texas home. Let's take a look at a day in the life on the McFadden Ranch.
It's just before dawn in South Texas, and Bob McCann is saddling his horse in the early morning fog and preparing to move some cattle with his crew. Bob oversees the cattle and the hunting and wildlife operations for his family's company, McFadden Enterprises.
My great-great-grandfather founded this ranch in 1877. he put the property together. And so I am fifth generation of our family to manage the ranch. It's a very unique operation here in that we operate on about 3 different counties. We have 2 ranches here in Victoria County that are what you would call the coastal plains, and we have another ranch south of here that's a lease ranch that our family has leased since 1932. We're pretty far south down here as far as the United States goes, so we've been able to make it work for a long time.
McFadden Enterprises includes combined acreage that can support anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 head depending on rainfall and forage availability. The ranches are stocked with commercial crossbred cattle.
My grandfather started our particular breed of the Brayford cattle, which is a 3/4 Hereford, 1/4 Brahman, crossing Hereford bulls on Brahman cows. So the 3/4, 1/4 breed was what we found to be the, kind of the best cross for our part of the country here. And as you can see, our cows really look a lot like a Hereford animal and have a lot of the Boss Taurus qualities about them.
Bob studied range science, so properly managing brush and all of his ranch's resources has always been a priority, and one of the main reasons McFadden Enterprises has been able to stay in business for so long.
We've seen our cattle operation really grow and improve because of the improvements that we've invested in for the ranch. I want this place to be in as good a condition as I can leave it for the next generation, for my children, for my cousin's children, our family's operation. And if it's in good condition, if it's a productive environment, it's going to be a profitable environment.
Beef industry advocacy is not new to the McCann family. They've been leaders in the Texas cattle industry for several generations, and Bob is a past president of the Texas and Southwestern Cattle Raisers Association. But the role of president of NCBA offers a different challenge as Bob gets a chance to represent cattlemen at the national level.
My grandfather served as president of the Texas and Southwestern Cattle Raisers, as did his uncle, my great uncle, and my father was a director in that organization, and I served as president of that organization about 10 years ago. And kind of during that time is when I got involved with National Cattlemen's. It's been really humbling to be able to kind of follow up in my family's footsteps in that regard. And I kind of grew up in that environment, going to a lot of the cattlemen's meetings, and so it was kind of a natural progression for me. And so I've really enjoyed a lot of the advocacy work and working with the different committees and just kind of having dialogue with different cattlemen around the country is really been enjoyable for me. It's a great honor for me, and it's a great honor for my family, and to be involved with an organization like NCBA that has just wonderful people involved.
Bob and his wife Julie have 2 children, Robert and Mary, and that family support will be critical. As NCBA president, Bob expects to spend as many as 300 days on the road, visiting with his fellow cattlemen and women.
It's a big treat for me to go out to these state affiliates and be able to visit with cattlemen in different parts of the country, kind of see how they run their operations, and I feel it's given me a whole lot better outlook on what the needs are of our cattle industry going forward. I'm really thankful that I have some family here that will help out. Although my son is still in college, he's down a lot. My father is still around. He's 83 years old, but he still keeps a pretty good eagle eye on what's going on at the operation. And I've got some good help working for me. With the communication technology we have today and cell phones and computers and things, I think it's certainly something we can strive to get done.
Bob's knowledge of the cattle industry both in the U.S. and internationally will be a huge advantage as cattle producers look to open up more foreign markets for U.S. beef.
We're enjoying some really good markets right now, and we hope to see that continue. But a lot of what's driving some of the good market we're having right now is our international market. And I think we've got great opportunities ahead of us with opening some new markets. We've got some really good markets open right now that are growing, and there's a lot of consumers of our product that live outside of this country. So we need to continue to focus on that. I think that's a great opportunity for us.
Bob is also passionate about helping young producers get started in the industry, and he knows the value of getting them involved in organizations like NCBA at an early age.
Those people have a lot of energy. They got a lot of passion for this industry. They've got some great ideas, and we need to make sure that we give them the opportunity to be able to be part of everything we do, I think, at NCBA. And they are the generation that are going to be able to relate to a lot of our consumers, possibly better than some of us older guys can. Plus, we need to have those people coming back into the industry, into our business. And whether it's our own children or someone else's children, it's important that we get young people coming back into the cattle industry.
Bob feels good about NCBA's place in the beef industry. He's a believer in the value of cattlemen joining together and knows that NCBA can play an important role in unifying the industry.
It's a great opportunity to be able to have dialogue with fellow cattlemen and be able to formulate policies that we as cattlemen can come together and agree upon as the best pathway forward for our industry. I've always felt that cattle industry is always going to have a tremendous amount of challenges, has forever and ever, but there's always going to be a lot of opportunities there. And the opportunities will be different through the years, but I see this in the next few years as us having a lot of opportunity. And if we can overcome our challenges, I think we've got a great future ahead of us.
There are many great reasons to become a member of NCBA, and one of them is a chance to read the National Cattlemen. A subscription is included free of charge when you become a member of NCBA. Just call 1-866-233-3872 or visit the website ncba.org. Still to come on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we check in with the always entertaining cowboy poet, Baxter Black. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
The elements can be relentless. Make sure they have respiratory protection to match.
You're watching NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen on RFD TV.
For cattle producing families across the country, maintaining the health of their herd is a critical concern. One way to address that is to continually look for ways to improve, searching for new techniques and technologies that will keep your cattle healthier. We learn more about ways to maintain herd health as Matt Fleck reports.
On any given day, you'll find multiple generations of the Kime family riding side by side on their cow-calf operation in the sandhills of Nebraska. Over the years, Shane Kime has figured out the three most important things they need to do on the ranch to produce the highest quality calves.
Those calves having proper nutrition, proper vaccination program, and parasite control, we feel that they're ready to go right off of their mothers and go right into any situation that they're going to be put in, whether it be backgrounding lot, whether it go on to grass with them. Any of those situations, we feel that we have a strong, healthy calf that's ready to go on for the next stage of their life.
The Kime family takes advantage of all the tools they can to help put pounds on their calves. One example is implants, a proven technology that improves an animal's rate of gain. Implants work by increasing the amount of growth-regulating hormones, which are naturally produced by the animal. Implants have been used in beef production for several decades, and Shane's family has been using them since putting together their own informal trial back in the mid-1980s.
We had a neighbor that actually did a test, and he had a control group, and then we had 3 groups that were implanted. I don't remember the exact results of all of them, but I know that the control group that didn't get any implant at all were 20 to 25 pounds lighter than the calves that were implanted. And that's when we realized that we needed to take advantage of this technology. And that's where we started, and then we've grown from there.
So implants are great technology to utilize in beef cattle. They are very consistent in what they do, and they're one of the most consistent technologies that we have in regards to the return on investment that we get with them.
Implants are small pellets that are placed under the skin on the back of the ear. Merck Animal Health offers a pair of reliable, safe, and effective implant products that stimulate weight gain and improve feed efficiency during the grazing season.
2 products available from Merck Animal Health for a producer in a grazing situation would be a Rowgrill, which is the most versatile implant on the market because it's approved for a suckling calf, also approved for stocker and backgrounding cattle, as well as in the feedlot phase. And it's the only implant approved on the market that can be utilized in all 3 sectors of the industry. A second product available from Merck Animal Health is Revelar G. It's approved for steers and heifers in a stocker situation or a grazing situation when they're not on their dam nursing. There's a lot of things that we can't control with the weather and the forage quality in a grazing situation, but by utilizing an implant, we can be assured that we're going to have an increased weight gain, whether it be coming off the cow at weaning time or during the backgrounding phase or the stocker phase. Those cattle are going to be heavier due to that implant.
On a suckling calf, we use Rowgrow. When we're ready to go to grass with those calves, we use a Revelar G, and then we go on to grass with them. And we actually have some of our buyers that prefer the calves to have had 2 implants because they feel when they give them their next stage implant, they respond a lot quicker.
There are several common misconceptions related to implant use in cattle. One misconception is that implants can have a negative impact on feedlot performance.
A lot of times producers are concerned that the feedlots don't want to buy these cattle because they've been implanted, and they've been led to believe that the cattle aren't going to perform as well in the feedlot if they've been implanted while at the ranch. And years and years of data has consistently proven that that is not the case, that when you utilize the correct implant that is approved for that class of animal, whether it be a nursing calf or a stocker animal, those cattle will continue to perform at the next level regardless of their previous implant history. So we just try to talk them through it, talk them through what these implants do and how they work and why they should still allow animals to grow at a rapid rate at the next stage.
Although some consumers believe so-called all-natural beef is better or safer, Dr. Nuttleman says it's another myth that implants significantly raise the hormone levels in the beef products consumers buy.
And we compare the amount of hormones that are in beef compared to other natural foods that are consumed by humans, it's such a minute amount of hormone that it's not even relevant from a discussion standpoint.
In fact, implants have been thoroughly tested by the Food and Drug Administration to ensure they're safe. Implants also fit in with a growing public interest in sustainability. Since implants work to make cattle operations more efficient, the result of their use is the production of more beef with fewer resources.
Rowgrill and Revelar G are 2 products from Merck Animal Health that help us be more sustainable by being more efficient with our available feed resources. We can't always control the amount of resources we have on our ranch, but we can utilize an implant to generate more pounds with the same resources that are available to us.
We're losing acres all the time, grazing acres all the time, and I think we've got to use all the technology out there we can to produce the same amount of beef on less acres. And with these implants, that's a technology that helps us do that.
At J.H. Keim & Sons, the goal is to always produce the best cattle for their customers. Shane knows he can rely on Rowgrow and Revlor G from Merck Animal Health to help them reach that goal.
Our profit margins are really slim, and most of it's because of our input costs. And when we're challenged with those kind of things, I think we need to use every technology out there that we can that'll give us an advantage to get the most amount of dollars off of the acres that we have. Through Merck Animal Health, we're able to contact nutritionists or technical support if we have an issue with herd health, or we have questions about our forage or parasite control, all those things. Well, they have a various amount of people that can answer questions for us, do research if we need some, and get back to us and help us get back in line with our protocol that we want.
For more information on tools available from Merck Animal Health, you can visit their website, mahcattle.com. From Nebraska, I'm Matt Fleck, reporting for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
If you'd like to learn more about what's happening with NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen, you can find us on Facebook. Be sure to like our page, and we'll keep you updated with photos, details on upcoming shows, and much more. And it's a great way to connect with other cattlemen and women all across the country. So check us out on Facebook. Still ahead, we'll have the latest from Baxter Black. Plus, we'll visit Kansas to check in with 2016 NCBA President Tracy Brunner. Stay with us.
It started with a man, a plot of land, and a few head of cattle. That man, your great-grandfather. You've got his name and his legacy, too. It's what you fight to live up to and work to leave behind. With innovation, integrity, and passion that runs as deep as yours, we'll be there. For your operation, for your future, for you. This is why Merck Animal Health works.
When it comes to the beef business, there's no room for gray area. The decisions being made in Washington affect the future of the beef industry, the livelihood of your fellow farmers and ranchers. Your National Cattlemen's Beef Association knows there's what benefits cattlemen and there's what doesn't. To us, it's as clear as black and white. Visit joinncba.org to learn more.
Welcome back. Tracy Brunner served as the 2016 president of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. Before Tracy began his term as NCBA president, the Cattlemen to Cattlemen crew took a trip to Kansas to learn what his operation is like and what issues were top of mind for him at that time.
Make a trip through the Flint Hills of eastern Kansas and you just might find Tracy Brunner doing what he loves to do, saddling his horse, riding out to check cattle, and tending to the business of his family's enterprise, the Cow Camp Ranch.
Well, actually, we're the third and fourth and now fifth generations of Brunners farming, ranching, raising cattle here in this part of Kansas. Our operation has evolved into a fairly diversified portion of the beef industry. We have everything from conception to consumption represented in our family entities.
On a daily basis, Tracy leads the feedlot and livestock marketing side of the business, but the Brunner family works together with Tracy and his two brothers as well as their wives and children, dividing responsibilities in a diverse farming and cattle operation.
Over time, we have become involved in genetics and seed stock production, where we raise bulls and females that go throughout the United States. We also have a farming and feeding enterprise that feeds and finishes cattle right here in our feed yard, which works very well with our grazing operation, our ranching enterprise, if you will, that grazes cattle on the native grasses of the Flint Hills. Additionally, we market those cattle through a value-based marketing system that lets us focus on quality, and not only quality of the cattle that we're raising, but the quality of beef that those cattle produce. This helps us to stay focused on the end product and realize efficiencies all through the beef animals production.
Watch Tracy on horseback or working his way through the feedlot, and you can see this is what he's spent his whole life doing, caring for cattle and working to find ways to continue raising the bar and producing the highest quality beef possible.
I was very fortunate throughout my younger years to be blessed with both family and teachers, pastors, even a county extension agent that were very supportive and very encouraging and expected success. Through the years, the livestock associations, both at the local level as well at the state level, have played a strong role in the continuing education that's very vital for me to stay in touch with not only other producers and other ideas, but new technologies and emerging ways to do things better in a more efficient manner. And so that continuing education and that networking with other producers has always been very important to us.
Always eager to learn more and give back to the industry he loves, Tracy has tackled a variety of volunteer positions in the beef industry on both the state and national level. Most recently, he served as an officer of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association.
I am very much looking forward to being president of NCBA in 2016. I'm looking forward to attending as many state meetings and local events as possible, and seeing as many NCBA members at our national meetings. The real strength of NCBA is through its affiliates. We have over 30,000 direct members, but we also represent 250,000 cattlemen throughout the United States through our affiliates. The state organizations, the state beef councils, the breed affiliates, all are cattlemen that are part of NCBA. We truly represent cattlemen and the cattle industry in our country.
In the year he'll serve as NCBA president, Tracy sees clear priorities that can help grow the American beef cattle business.
Trade is a big one. The Trans-Pacific Partnership that has just been negotiated and signed but still needs to be ratified will be a great thing for our industry. Very important for the next generation of cattlemen in this country. It's a good agreement. It will lower our trade tariffs into our best customer, Japan, from 38% down to 9% over 16 years of the agreement.
Beyond the opportunity to grow U.S. beef exports to Japan and other Pacific Rim markets, Tracy says there are plenty of policy challenges ahead as NCBA works to protect cattle producers and their freedom to operate.
We've been pushing back on the waters of the U.S. rule ever since it was first announced several years ago. It's a classic example of government overreach into areas that just don't need to be under federal control. You know, in the second term of this administration, we've already seen an escalation of the initiatives and the use of the executive order to further the agenda of the administration. We're going to continue to need to be vigilant, to push back in places where things like additional monument designations are used, listing of endangered species are brought forward that will encroach on private property rights and the use of public lands that are both so very vital to our cattle industry and our beef production systems throughout the country.
As always, there's no shortage of challenges to face, and in 2016, it's likely that Tracy Brunner will spend more than 200 days away from his home ranch, serving as president of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association and speaking out on behalf of the industry he loves. He'll do so to help ensure a future for family members growing up on his own ranch and for all those who hope to have a future in America's beef industry.
My hope and prayer would be that as many as possible could enjoy the independent lifestyle, the opportunity to run their own business, to work the land, raising animals, and maybe working with their family, providing the high quality food, the highest quality protein that the world knows. I've never been more optimistic about the potential for our industry. With the globalization of economies and new technologies that continue to bring us closer and closer together, All the consumers of the world want to eat better, and that includes our high-quality beef, the premium protein.
On the Cow Camp Ranch in Kansas, I'm Brian Baxter reporting for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Up next, it's time once again for our good friend Baxter Black. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
When you're raising cattle, you might have to solve a dozen problems before you even get through your first cup of coffee. Still, one thing we don't ever have to worry about is implant performance.
We use Synvex Twin Grass. It's the only true 200-day trim-blown acetate implant for grazing steers and heifers.
And you can actually drink this before it gets cold. Ooh, that'll put hair on your chest.
We know you're up before the dawn because the cattle rise before the sun. And you spend long hours in the saddle because the herd isn't always over the next rise. And you care for the land because you know it takes care of your family. And we know you do great work. And it's time to tell that story to the marketplace. IMI Global is here to help you do just that.
At Leachman Cattle, we're committed to building more profitable cattle. As a third-generation seed stock producer, our family has been in this business for over 80 years. Today, we have the best technology ever to build more profitable cattle. Our dollar profit index is a leader in the industry to help you balance all the traits that drive your bottom line. Give us a call or go to www.leachman to learn more.
It came from out of nowhere, like a prolapse in the night. Which in fact is what it was, my friends, the cow vet's scourge and plight, that pudgy pink projectile from those monster movie scenes, like some whopping giant burrito filled with attitude and beans. I was soon laid down behind it on a hillside in the muck, while the cowboy shined his high beams from his perch there in the truck. His rope stretched from the bumper to her front legs tied in haste as I wallowed in the darkness like a frog stripped to the waist. You can strip to the waist from either end, ladies and gentlemen. And if I took off my pants, you'd know what a frog looked like stripped to the waist. It was bigger than a tree trunk. It was slick as old chow mein. It was heavy as a carpet someone left out in the rain. I tried to gain some purchase as I pressed my fist in tight. It was thrashing like a porpoise. It was putting up a fight. I got it in a hammer lock. It was like a rabid dog. I wrapped my legs around it like a monkey on a log. I pushed until my shoulder disappeared inside the mass as I scrabbled for a foothold in the mud and frozen grass. But alas, with one huge effort, she expelled me from her grip. I shot out like a cannon, rolled and did a double flip. But I grabbed her tail in passing, and with strength born out of war, I dove at the appendage like some punch-drunk matador. I lifted her hindquarters and I swung her side to side, and then, like smart men do, used my head to push it back inside. It was dark there for a minute. It's hard to catch my breath. But there she lay, my patient I'd saved from certain death. The cowboy rolled his window down and said, "Doc, are you all right?" He gunned the engine several times. The headlights got real bright. I've seen a prolapse done before, but never quite like that. Oh, they taught us that in vet school, but I think it ate my hat. This is Baxter Black from in there.
Thanks, Baxter. We always enjoy our visits with you each and every week. We'll have more Cattlemen to Cattlemen right after this. Stay with us.
Out here, you know what needs to be done, and you know what it means to those you're doing it for. But every sunrise brings something new, with the weather, the soil, the markets, your machinery. You can't always predict what it will be. So it's good to know that Ram trucks are more than capable of helping you get it done right.
If you're connected with the beef cattle business, then you should like the NCBA page on Facebook. The NCBA Facebook page shares photos, news, and valuable information about the beef cattle industry. You can also follow the NCBA Twitter feed at Beef USA. So stay in touch with NCBA on Facebook and Twitter.
It's time once again for Legacy Photos, as we check out some amazing shots submitted to us by families all across the country. Let's take a look. Well, that's our time for this week's special edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again next week, right here on RFD TV.